Hello YouTube, this is Amazing here, bringing you the final Wargame European Escalation commentary in my Wargame weekend. Today we're in the map A Bridge Too Far, playing a 4v4 6,000 point game. In this game, it is a very interesting game as there's a lot of back and forth action, and there are several very important lessons on how to play Wargame European Escalation effectively. In this, I was initially interested in taking Juliet, Oscar and Papa, advancing quickly, hoping that the enemy's attention would be focused elsewhere. Unfortunately, this was not the case, as you can see they have a large number of forces moving out. Two players were attacking me. As such, I was on the back foot almost immediately. My forces move out. I had allocated one command vehicle each, but when I saw the amount of forces that were stacking against me, I quickly decided to retreat them. As I was intending to take Papa, I had left India unoccupied, so I was unable to reinforce directly, so I went to save up my points. As you can see, the Cobras are coming in, hoping to get a few early kills, but my ever useful Tunguska M's quickly come to the rescue, although the first group of Cobras managed to stun one of my groups. The second group is on standby and is ready to wipe them out. As you can see, they have secured Papa, allowing them to reinforce units directly. I therefore sent the force that I was intended to take Papa immediately there to ensure that I could stop them reinforcing. T-64 have now stopped. But as you can see, there's a huge amount of units they're going to have to contend with. Lots of ADKM infantry, TOW keeps, paratroopers, 4 British tanks, and several M1 Abrams. Until I noticed the ITOs, I thought I could blow us off, as their force seemed to be composed largely of infantry. Elsewhere, my ally in Hotel, Commissaire, has stopped. He said he was providing the artillery support for this game, but largely he didn't do very much, and he was very useless in this game. He wasn't providing a lot of help, and was very critical of me. So the T-64s are now fighting. As you can see, they've launched a large attack on this force. My Conquerors have moved out and are striking against their M1 Abrams, as well as the Spetsnaz, which are ready to defend against these forces. However, they brought in their carriers to shell the woods. The attack is now doing a significant damage. The 4 chieftains are going to easily take care of the T-64s now that the ITO keeps have heavily damaged them, and now with the ITOs being refueled, this is definitely looking very scary for me. As such, I pulled back my BRDM from Juliet because I realised there's no way I could defend it, and moved my BRDM from here. However, they've noticed this and are therefore will be concentrating on this area. While T-64 fight on valiantly, knocking out several of the enemy units, but unfortunately not. A volley from our artillery player manages to knock out the TOW keeps and stun the chieftains, allowing my recon units and Tunguskas to retreat. Spetsnaz is now currently engaging the riflemen, but with the A1 Abrams and 4 riflemen outnumbering the 2 Spetsnaz, they're quickly destroyed. I try and get the Conquerors back into firing range of the tanks, as I know they are quite damaged and I could easily get a few kills. But unfortunately, the Abrams quickly spot them. My Conquerors unfortunately missing the Abrams quickly eliminate them. As you can see, I've now been pushed back from Juliet, Oscar and Papa. At the moment, only this command vehicle is stopping them from bringing in even more reinforcements. And the fact that I have only just been able to retake India to bring in supplies, this makes my position quite difficult. However, because 2 of the enemies have been focused on me, my allies have managed to push out successfully. They managed to take Charlie, Bravo, and have a good position to push back the enemy. There's also a bit of a controversy over this section in the battle. As you see, my 2 BRDMs are still in the woods. This is a significant amount of points, and I didn't really want to lose them. Now, my ally wanted me to pull them back immediately because of the forces here. However, I knew that in the woods they couldn't see them, whereas these chieftains were definitely in range, and because I had nothing to stop them apart from this lowly hind helicopter, so definitely would be tricky. Hind's trying to do an effective of holding back, but the Roland 2s have moved in, and Hind's quickly dispatched. Another volley of artillery from the Smirches, however, manages to take out a few resupply helicopters, but a BRDM that I had sent up to try and help the command vehicle, the QDS, is now trying to sniff out the enemy defences and see if they're in. Okay, so however the BRDM has been forced back by the Persons. It's completely outmatched. It's not going to be able to do too much. As you can see, my ally is now screaming at me to get the command vehicles out of here, but because the tanks are right next to it, I'm adamant that these guys aren't going anywhere for the time being. While the chieftains are there, as soon as my command vehicles move out, they'll be slaughtered. My ally was not very pleased with this decision. As you can see, they're bringing in command vehicles to take Oscar. Push us back. Now, thanks to his command helicopter, I know that this area is clear, so I move my BRDMs. At this moment, I'm not really confident if I can take them, just because of the huge amounts of units that are stacked against them, but got to try. At this stage, the BRDM knows that this force here is too strong for it. However, I've noticed that Lima has been taken, and I reckon that with all the forces here, Lima can't be well defended. As such, I'm moving my BRDM. Hopefully, get a bit lucky. As you can see, the chieftain spotted the BRDM command armor and is opening fire on it. I then quickly get my armor out of the way and bring in another Mi-24. The chieftains have advanced, and I hope that the Rolands haven't moved forward, and when they are moving forward they won't be able to fire, so hopefully I can get a few shots off and keep the chieftains back long enough for my command armor to get across the bridge. See, the chieftains still see the command armor, so this is definitely going to be close, especially now that Sheridans are being brought in. But the chieftains have been stunned by the hind. These aren't going to do, and the BRDM points is. This is a good point. This is a command vehicle that's been left completely undefended. Anything that had been posted there would have saved it. This is just a lowly recon. Even if it was armoured, it would have been able to defend itself against the disc machine gun. But BRDM can easily kill it off, and is much faster than the command vehicle. As such, this is a very nice and very good 200 points to us. Also, because of the fact that we have units in behind their flanks, they are going to panic, and hopefully this will hold off their offensive long enough for us to reinforce. It's now down. The BRDM is now very high veterancy, so it'll be useful in the battles to come. Unfortunately, one of my command vehicles was not able to make it across the bridge due to the huge number of tanks against it, but one did. I was quite happy with this, but it's another 200 points. However, now they're bringing their forces against me. And with 2 BRDMs. Oh well. It's not that much of a loss when you consider this. There you go. The BRDM spots a huge squadron of Canucks heading out. Try and mention it to them, but unfortunately not. Now they're bringing in the UH-1C Heavy Hog gunship helicopter, equipped with frags and Frapper rockets. Unfortunately, they clearly weren't paying attention, as the BRDM manages to go into the woods. The Hog keeps on flying, and the machine gun makes short work of it. Another few points to us. At this point, I've fallen back. My allies helped me with a few short-term tank destroyers, and I'm bringing in my own Conqueror's anti-tank infantry. Gaskas have been retreated due to the but unfortunately some anti-aircraft helicopters have been brought in to chase away my allies' scout helicopter. He notices them and so I quickly pull the Tunguskas out of the woods, and they'll make short work of the defences and helicopters. Unfortunately, in his haste to get the recon helicopter out of the way, he's moved it straight into the cavalry's firing line, which makes short work of it. A pity. There's another source of conflict between us, because he was adamant that I had failed to stop the AA helicopters, and it was my fault those guys had died, whereas we can see clearly wasn't. A BDR unfortunately didn't manage to make it. It was trying to get around to see if Quebec could fall as easily as Lima had. Unfortunately, these infantry were still here, and they made short work of it. Now my ally is probably regretting that he hasn't advanced. Soldiers from Mass have now landed with their VABs and are pushing straight into his base. As you can see, he hasn't built that much. He's got Smirches, Tunguskas, and a few Multistrati. He's also got a few recons dotted around the place. Unfortunately, this is gonna. So now we're feeling quite bad. Although our other two allies have managed to push them all the way back to Foxtrot, and have done a good job of surrounding and cutting them off. We are now pushed back, with Hotel looking quite vulnerable, and a massive amount of forces directed against India. We're feeling that this could go bad quite quickly. He's now bringing in some Tu-55 flamethrower tanks to deal with the infantry. Good choice. Their flamethrowers are very effective in close quarters against all units, and they still have the T-55's gun. So a very effective unit can easily deal with infantry. As you can see now, they're planning to consolidate their position. Our attack on Lima has made them quite a bit reluctant to attack, knowing and leave their command vehicles undefended. And so they're setting up mortar positions to try and bomb us out of here. They try and advance 1 or 2 units to the bridgehead to see if they can get a few pot shots, but our tank destroyers will make short work of anything they're trying to send. At this point, I'm just bringing in as many conquered infantry as I can. Although I know the artillery is there, these are definitely the cheapest and most effective solution for dealing with the Abrams and the various other tanks they have, seeing as they cannot use the ATKMs on the Sheridans to their advantage. As you can see, he has retreated his Smirches. Unfortunately, he and the Tunguskas have managed to hold off the VABs. However, the soldiers from us are now coming to deal with the Tunguskas, and if they are not moved out of the woods, they'll make quick pickings. BTR Conquerors were brought in by one of our other allies trying to reinforce the line up here. Unfortunately, he wasn't aware of the situation here, and the Delta Force will make good work of him. Again, the ally was very insulting to other people, calling them epic noobs and stuff like that. It definitely didn't help the morale of the team. Whereas he's helping by bringing in unarmed recon. Very useful. At this point, I had spotted their command vehicle here. I knew he had artillery here, and at that range it could do a fair job of knocking it down. However, he was getting very irritated with me because of my command vehicle maneuvers and various other things, and he refused to provide support for someone who clearly didn't deserve it according to him. Pity. We could have definitely taken a volley of the Smirches, could have definitely dealt and finished off that command vehicle in Gilead, but he wasn't listening, so it's definitely getting a bit irritating between us. I'm now noticing the infantry here. I decided to help him out. I brought in some specialized units to deal with the infantry, hoping that if we could secure Hotel, he'd bring in more reinforcements to India and we could hold off this force. At this point, he said he was getting sick of the newbie team and hated the fact that we were pulling him back and holding him back. So he surrendered. I inherited his units. It's unfortunately it was too late. It's because he left the Tunguskas in there too long. The soldiers from us made quick work of it, and now this meant that soldiers from us were now dug in with an FOB supplied to them. We were going to have some troubles. However, the tides are turning with the Spetsnaz and the TO-55s. This will be a very good anti-infantry unit. Some more Sacrosans are being brought in, but thanks to the TO-55's cannon, they won't be too much of a problem. Tunguskas are also being brought in to help defense against any Canuck reinforcements for them and to cut down the infantry in the open. They're also using their cannons on the Sacrosans. As you can see, they've used some Hueys to drop off Delta Force into this area, hoping to take out my one remaining command vehicle. They've been shelling this area heavily with their artillery and knocked out one of them, although it would have taken them a lot less units. They send in an infantry force with 4 paratroopers and riflemen supported by a Zibbo flamethrower vehicle, but all the anti-tank defences make short work of that.